Did you know Lily Elbe, Christine Jorgensen, Lynn Conway, Candy Darling, and Sylvia Rivera were all born male? But they're not alone. Many old Hollywood celebrities and public figures were also assigned males at birth, but chose to live their truth as women. Some of them came out openly, while others kept their identities hidden, simply because it was considered taboo or even dangerous to be transgender during their time. So don't move away. You might just be surprised by some of the names you'll see. Lily Elbe, 1882 to 1931. Lily Elbe was born as Einar Wegener in Vejle, Denmark. She studied art at the Royal Danish Academy of Fine Arts, where she met her wife, Gerda Wegener, who was also an artist. At first, Lily posed as a female model for Gerda's paintings, which became quite famous. Modeling like that helped Lily realize she truly felt like a woman, not a man. In the late 1920s, she decided to fully transition with help from Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld, a well-known sexologist in Germany. Between 1930 and 1931, she underwent several surgeries in Berlin and Dresden to change her body. These operations were very new and risky at the time. Sadly, she passed away in 1931 because of problems from her final surgery, where doctors tried to give her a uterus. A book called Man into Woman later told Lily's story by using her personal diaries and letters. Her experiences also inspired the novel The Danish Girl by David Ebershoff, which was later turned into a movie. Even though people back then barely understood what it meant to be transgender, Lily bravely lived as her true self, and many still see her story as a sign of strength and hope. Christine Jorgensen, 1926 to 1989. Let's talk about Christine Jorgensen, who was originally named George Jorgensen Jr. She grew up in the Bronx, New York, feeling like something just didn't match up with how everyone else saw her. After serving in the U.S. Army during World War II, Christine started learning about hormones and surgeries that could help her transition. In 1951, she headed to Copenhagen, Denmark, to work with Dr. Christian Hamburger. He guided her through hormone therapy and surgery, something almost no one else had openly done at the time. When she got back to the U.S. in 1952, the press went wild, calling her the first famous transgender woman. But Christine didn't shy away from the spotlight. She turned all that attention into a platform to speak up for transgender people. She acted, sang, and gave talks all over the country. Even though critics and tabloids tried to drag her down, she kept going. Her autobiography, Christine Jorgensen, a personal autobiography, gave readers a glimpse of how life-changing and challenging her journey really was. Lynn Conway, 1938 to 2024. Lynn Conway was a renowned computer scientist, engineer, and transgender activist whose contributions to technology were transformative. Born in White Plains, New York, she showed an early aptitude for science and mathematics. However, Lynn struggled with her gender identity, and in the 1960s, she began transitioning. While working at IBM in the 1960s, Lynn faced workplace discrimination and was fired after revealing her intent to transition. Undeterred, she continued her career in technology, eventually pioneering microchip design methodologies that revolutionized computing. Her work on VLSI, very large-scale integration, chip design, became foundational in modern electronics. Lynn came out publicly as transgender in the late 1990s and dedicated herself to advocacy. She created a comprehensive online resource for transgender individuals, offering guidance on transitioning and navigating societal challenges. Her life's work exemplified the intersection of brilliance and authenticity. Candy Darling, 1944 to 1974. Candy Darling, born James Lawrence Slattery, grew up in Queens, New York. From a young age, she felt a deep connection to femininity and idolized Hollywood actresses. As a teenager, she began presenting as female and adopted the name Candy Darling. Candy gained prominence in the 1960s as part of Andy Warhol's New York art scene. She appeared in Warhol's films Flesh, 1968, and Women in Revolt, 1971, becoming a symbol of glamour and defiance. Despite her growing fame, Candy faced significant challenges, including societal rejection and limited opportunities as a transgender actress. Her life was tragically cut short by lymphoma at the age of 29. Candy's story has been immortalized in music, literature, and film, including Lou Reed's song Walk on the Wild Side and the documentary Beautiful Darling. Sylvia Rivera, 1951 to 2002. Sylvia Rivera was a Latina transgender activist and a prominent figure in the LGBTQ+ rights movement. Born in New York City, Sylvia experienced homelessness and discrimination from an early age. She found solace in the LGBTQ+ community and became involved in activism during the 1960s. Sylvia was a key participant in the Stonewall Uprising of 1969, which marked a turning point in the fight for LGBTQ+ rights. She co-founded STAR, Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, with Marsha P. Johnson, providing shelter and support for homeless transgender youth. Throughout her life, Sylvia fought for the inclusion of transgender people in the broader LGBTQ+ movement. She emphasized the importance of addressing issues of race, class, and gender intersectionality. Sylvia's activism remains a cornerstone of transgender advocacy. Lucy Hicks Anderson, 1886 to 1954. Lucy Hicks Anderson was a pioneering figure in transgender history and one of the earliest documented transgender women in the United States. Born Tobias Lawson in Waddy, Kentucky, Lucy began living as a girl at a young age. Her family and community supported her gender expression, a rarity in the early 20th century. Lucy eventually moved to California, where she became a successful chef and socialite. Her life took a dramatic turn in the 1940s when her gender identity was revealed during a legal dispute. Lucy was charged with fraud for marrying a man, as same-sex marriage was illegal at the time. She stood her ground, stating, "I defy any doctor in the world to prove that I am not a woman." Despite the challenges she faced, Lucy's courage and determination made her a trailblazer for transgender visibility in the United States. Roberta Cowell, 1918 to 2011. Roberta Cowell was a British World War II fighter pilot and racing driver who became the first known British transgender woman to undergo gender confirmation surgery. Born in London, Roberta had a passion for engineering and aviation, which led her to serve as a pilot during the war. In the early 1950s, Roberta began her transition, undergoing surgery and hormone therapy. Her story gained public attention when she shared her experiences in interviews and articles, challenging societal norms and paving the way for greater acceptance of transgender individuals in the UK. Roberta's life was a unique blend of courage and adventure. She continued to pursue her passion for racing and engineering, living life on her terms. Angela Morley, 1924 to 2009. Angela Morley was an acclaimed English composer and conductor whose work spanned film, television, and music. Born Walter Stott, Angela began her career as a musician in the 1940s. Her talent and dedication led to a successful career, working with notable artists and composing scores for films and TV shows. Angela transitioned in the 1970s, a decision that garnered media attention but did not overshadow her professional achievements. She became the first openly transgender person to receive an Academy Award nomination for her work on The Little Prince, 1974, and The Slipper and the Rose, 1976. Angela's contributions to music and her quiet resilience in the face of societal challenges made her a respected figure in the entertainment industry. Jan Morris, 1926 to 2020. Jan Morris was a celebrated British historian, travel writer, and journalist. Born James Morris, she gained recognition for her coverage of significant events, including the first ascent of Mount Everest in 1953. In the 1960s, Jan began her transition, undergoing gender confirmation surgery in 1972. Jan's memoir, Conundrum, detailed her journey and offered a rare glimpse into the life of a transgender person during that era. Her eloquent writing and profound insights into identity resonated with readers worldwide. Jan's extensive body of work, which includes travelogues and historical studies, cemented her legacy as one of the most respected writers of her time. Coccinelle, 1931 to 2006. Coccinelle, born Jacques Dufresnoy, was a magnetic French entertainer who dazzled audiences with her singing, acting, and unforgettable cabaret performances. Born in Paris in 1931, she discovered her passion for the stage early in life, taking inspiration from the vibrant nightlife of the city. Under the spotlight, Coccinelle refined her talents at famous venues like Le Carrousel de Paris, winning over crowds with her electrifying presence and distinct style. In 1958, she made headlines by traveling to Casablanca, Morocco, for gender confirmation surgery performed by Dr. Georges Barreau. This groundbreaking step wasn't just life-changing for Coccinelle, it also put transgender issues at the forefront in Europe, sparking public conversations about gender identity. With her new sense of self, she continued to shine on stage, performing in revues and entertaining fans across the continent. Beyond her performances, Coccinelle was known for her advocacy and the way she pushed barriers. Her visibility helped shift perceptions, and she even founded an organization to support transgender individuals, further solidifying her reputation as a trailblazer. Though she passed away in 2006, Coccinelle remains a legendary figure who championed acceptance and used her fame to light a path for those who followed. April Ashley, 1935 to 2021. April Ashley was born George Jameson in Liverpool, where she faced bullying and isolation from an early age. She never quite felt comfortable with the identity others placed on her, and by the time she reached her 20s, she knew she wanted to pursue gender confirmation surgery. In 1960, she made the bold move to travel to Casablanca, Morocco, to have her operation performed by the renowned Dr. Georges Barreau. This was still a rare and risky procedure at the time, but it marked the start of a brand new chapter for April. Once she returned to England, April's modeling career took off. She appeared in Vogue and worked with prominent fashion photographers, showcasing her undeniable poise and elegance. However, her life took a drastic turn in 1961 when a tabloid exposed her as transgender. Overnight, she went from being celebrated to facing harsh scrutiny and discrimination, both in the media and within the modeling industry. Despite these setbacks, April refused to be silenced. She emerged as a vocal advocate for transgender rights, sharing her experiences in her autobiography, The First Lady. With her resilience, grace, and unwavering determination, April Ashley became a lasting symbol of perseverance for countless others. Alicia Brevard, 1937 to 2017. Alicia Brevard was born in Tennessee and always had her sights set on performing. During the 1950s, she decided to follow her dreams all the way to California, hoping to find a space where she could truly be herself. After transitioning, a bold and groundbreaking move in that era, she landed modeling gigs and eventually found her way onto movie sets and television shows. One of her more notable film roles was in The Love God, where she showcased both her talent and her natural charm. But Alicia was more than just an actress. She pursued higher education, became a professor, and started writing memoirs about her life. In a world where transgender identities were still hugely misunderstood, Alicia managed to carve out a successful career while staying true to who she was. Her journey reminds us of the uphill battle many transgender individuals faced, especially in mid-century America, and how a combination of tenacity and talent can light the way for future generations. Patricia Morgan, 1939 to 1986. Patricia Morgan's life story is a testament to resilience. Growing up in a marginalized community in mid-20th century America meant she had to navigate a world full of discrimination and limited opportunities. During the 1960s, she transitioned, which was an especially challenging period for transgender people. Healthcare resources were scarce, and public understanding was nearly non-existent. Despite facing poverty and the stigma attached to sex work, Patricia managed to reinvent herself as a successful entrepreneur. She used the skills and street smarts she'd gained over the years to break barriers in the business world. This alone would have been remarkable. But Patricia also made it her mission to uplift other transgender individuals, sharing her experiences and advocating for greater acceptance. Though not widely recognized by the mainstream, her life serves as an important reminder that perseverance and courage can thrive in the face of adversity. Jackie Shane, 1940 to 2019. Jackie Shane was born in Nashville, Tennessee, but she truly found her audience across the border in Toronto. During the 1960s, a time of tremendous social change, and just as much social pushback, Jackie became a beloved figure in the city's bustling R&B and soul scene. Known for her powerhouse vocals and onstage magnetism, she didn't just sing. She commanded every club she stepped into, turning each performance into an unforgettable experience. What made Jackie's presence even more electrifying was her openness about being a transgender woman, a bold stand at a time when many felt forced to hide or deny their truth. Despite discrimination and the risk of public backlash, Jackie's talent couldn't be ignored. Her hit song, Any Other Way, resonated with fans far beyond Toronto's borders, and her legacy is still celebrated by music lovers who appreciate her fearless self-expression. In an industry often resistant to difference, Jackie became a beacon of authenticity. Jeffrey Catherine Jones, 1944 to 2011. Jeffrey Catherine Jones was a visionary American painter and comic book artist who left an indelible mark on the fantasy and science fiction genres. Born in Georgia, she spent much of her early career crafting evocative illustrations for magazines like Heavy Metal and National Lampoon. Her style was striking, ethereal, moody, and deeply captivating, setting her work apart in a field that was often dominated by more conventional artistic approaches. In the 1990s, Jeffrey publicly transitioned, weaving themes of identity, change, and personal truth into her artwork. Whether she was painting dreamlike landscapes or fantastical creatures, there was always a sense of transformation lying beneath the surface. Despite facing her own set of challenges, including health issues and societal barriers, Jeffrey continued creating art that inspired both casual fans and fellow artists. Today, many recognize her as a pioneer, whose courage and creativity remind us that art can serve as a powerful lens through which we explore our deepest selves. Rachel Pollack, 1945 to 2023. Let's dive into the story of Rachel Pollack, a pioneering American author, comic book writer, and outspoken transgender activist. She made a huge impact through her work on DC Comics' Doom Patrol, where she added a level of depth and nuance that was pretty rare in comics at the time, especially when it came to transgender themes. Rachel first transitioned in the 1970s, a period when information and support were scarce. Instead of hiding, she pushed forward, speaking out for LGBTQ+ rights whenever she had the chance. Rachel's writing went far beyond comics. Her novel Unquenchable Fire snagged the Arthur C. Clarke Award, and her research and innovation in tarot became legendary. By weaving concepts of transformation and identity into her stories, she created narratives that felt personal and universal at once. Even in her role as a professor, Rachel emphasized the power of storytelling as a tool for social change. Her life and work reveal just how powerful it can be to merge the mystical with the deeply personal. Holly Woodlawn, 1946 to 2015. Next up is Holly Woodlawn, born Geraldo Santiago Franceschi Rodriguez Danhakel in Puerto Rico. She's often remembered for her appearances in Andy Warhol's films Trash and Women in Revolt, where her raw energy helped define the underground New York art scene of the 1970s. Holly left home as a teenager, stepping into a harsh world that included homelessness, but she navigated it all with a sense of humor and a fearless spirit. Her big break came when Warhol noticed her spark and cast her in his films. From there, she became something of a muse for the factory crowd, capturing people's hearts with her unfiltered performances. Lou Reed even immortalized her in his famous song, Walk on the Wild Side. Holly faced plenty of discrimination but refused to back down. In many ways, she stood for reinvention, constantly adapting to life's ups and downs while never losing sight of who she really was. Jackie Curtis, 1947 to 1985. Jackie Curtis was a whirlwind of talent, playwright, actress, and a bold force in New York's avant-garde theater scene. Born Jack Curtis, she rejected rigid gender labels early on, experimenting with fashion, pronouns, and performance styles that mixed masculine and feminine elements into a single eye-catching persona. Jackie's plays, like Glamour, Glory, and Gold, used wit and social commentary to tackle topics like gender identity, class, and the allure of celebrity culture. During the heyday of Andy Warhol's Factory, Jackie became a key figure alongside other notable names like Holly Woodlawn and Candy Darling. Whether she was performing on stage or showing up in underground films, she carried an unmistakable magnetism that left audiences both intrigued and delighted. She struggled with addiction and faced many personal obstacles, yet her creativity never stopped flowing. Even after her passing, Jackie's groundbreaking approach to art and life continues to inspire new waves of performers and playwrights. Leslie Feinberg, 1949 to 2014. Leslie Feinberg was a powerhouse in transgender activism, known widely for her novel Stone Butch Blues. Leslie used ze/her pronouns, showing how language can evolve to respect people's identities, and poured her heart into exploring subjects like gender nonconformity, working-class issues, and the importance of solidarity across social movements. Born into a world that often lacked understanding of trans and non-binary experiences, Leslie carved out a space for discussions that still resonate today. A dedicated labor organizer and Marxist, Leslie believed wholeheartedly that the fight for transgender rights was deeply tied to broader issues of social justice. Z faced plenty of resistance from those uncomfortable with such bold perspectives, but that never slowed her down. Through articles, speeches, and community organizing, Leslie pressed for inclusive approaches that recognized the complexities of race, class, and gender. Even after her passing, Leslie's work remains a cornerstone for activists who carry on the call for collective empowerment and liberation. Sylvia Reyes, 1949 to 2024. Sylvia Reyes was a driving force in Spain's LGBTQ+ movement, taking incredible risks under Franco's dictatorship just to be seen and heard. Growing up in a highly repressive environment, Sylvia knew she was transgender but found it nearly impossible to express that identity publicly. Despite the threats and the danger, she joined others in Spain's first Pride March in 1977, a historic moment that helped set the course for real change. Her activism didn't stop there. Sylvia worked tirelessly to decriminalize homosexuality, and her efforts played a key role in shaping the eventual recognition of transgender rights in Spain. Throughout her life, she spoke openly about the harassment and violence she experienced, highlighting the toll it takes on individuals who simply want to live authentically. Sylvia's journey is a powerful reminder that progress often comes from the bravery of those who refuse to accept silence. Her life continues to inspire people fighting for visibility and respect across the world. Julia Grant, 1954 to 2019. Julia Grant was a British transgender activist whose journey played out on national television in the BBC series A Change of Sex. Airing in the late 1970s and early 1980s, this groundbreaking documentary introduced viewers to the real-life experiences of a transgender individual, something scarcely covered on TV at the time. As the cameras followed Julia through her transition, audiences witnessed her struggles, including the loss of her job and intense public scrutiny, but also her moments of triumph. Refusing to be defined by adversity, Julia became an outspoken advocate for transgender healthcare reforms and broader equality. She collaborated with charities that focused on supporting transgender youth, stressing the need for accessible medical guidance and emotional support. Over the years, she championed community-driven projects that brought people together, helping to create a more understanding environment for those questioning their gender identity. Today, Julia's story remains an important reference point in the UK's conversation about visibility, acceptance, and progress for transgender individuals. Jenelle Jacques, 1956 to 2024. Jenelle Jacques was a visionary in the world of tabletop RPGs and video games, forever changing the way people engage with fantasy storytelling. If you've ever played classic Dungeons & Dragons modules like Dark Tower, you've experienced some of her most celebrated work. full of intricate plots, atmospheric settings, and groundbreaking level designs that continue to influence game creators today. Outside of her design genius, Janelle's personal life took a notable turn in the 2000s when she transitioned, becoming a vocal supporter of LGBTQ+ inclusion in a gaming industry that could be slow to adapt. Never one to stop at just making games, Janelle also co-founded the Transgender Human Rights Institute, a testament to her dedication to social progress. Through this platform, she encouraged major tech and entertainment companies to adopt policies that respect and protect transgender employees. Her life serves as a brilliant reminder that the creative spark can unite with advocacy, yielding worlds, both virtual and real, that are more welcoming and imaginative for everyone. Georgina Beyer, 1557 to 2023. Georgina Beyer shattered political glass ceilings as the world's first openly transgender member of parliament. Elected in New Zealand to represent the Wairarapa electorate from 1999 to 2007, she used her platform to speak candidly about issues affecting marginalized communities. Before stepping into politics, Georgina worked as a sex worker and actress, experiences that deeply shaped her views on social justice and the need for inclusive policies. During her time as an MP, Georgina championed a wide range of causes, from advocating for LGBTQ+ rights and indigenous concerns to playing a key role in the decriminalization of sex work. Her speeches and proposals often carried powerful authenticity. She was fighting not just for abstract issues, but for the very communities she had been part of. Through her leadership, Georgina Beyer proved that representation matters, showing the world that personal history, empathy, and resilience can transform politics for the better. Greer Langton, 1958 to 1996. Greer Langton was an innovative American artist whose haunting doll sculptures delved into themes of gender, identity, and societal expectations. Born in Flint, Michigan, Greer transitioned as a teenager, undergoing gender-affirming surgery at the age of 17. Her experiences navigating her gender identity in a largely unaccepting society deeply influenced her art. After studying at the Art Institute of Chicago, Greer moved to New York City, where she became a prominent figure in the East Village art scene during the 1980s. Her works often featured lifelike, surreal dolls that mirrored her struggles with body image, gender dysphoria, and addiction. These sculptures were highly personal, blending vulnerability and defiance in equal measure. Greer's installations, including her famous work, It's All About Me, Not You, were celebrated for their raw emotionality. Despite her success, Greer battled addiction and health issues, passing away at the age of 38. Her art continues to resonate, offering a poignant exploration of identity and self-expression. Angela Clayton, 1959 to 2014. Angela Clayton was a British nuclear physicist and transgender activist who broke barriers in both science and advocacy. Born in Yorkshire, Angela excelled academically, earning a PhD in nuclear physics. She became a leading expert in reactor safety and contributed to groundbreaking research in her field. Angela transitioned in the 1990s, balancing her high-profile career in science with her advocacy for transgender rights. She often spoke about the challenges of navigating male-dominated fields as a transgender woman, using her platform to inspire inclusivity within STEM disciplines. Angela's contributions to both science and social advocacy were widely recognized. In addition to her professional achievements, Angela worked tirelessly to support the transgender community, promoting equality and representation in various sectors. Her life exemplified the intersection of brilliance and authenticity, inspiring countless individuals to pursue their passions unapologetically. Maddie Blaustein, 1960 to 2008. Maddie Blaustein was a groundbreaking American voice actress, best known for her portrayal of Meowth in the Pokémon series. Born in Long Island, New York, Maddie transitioned in the late 1990s, becoming one of the first openly transgender voice actors in the animation industry. Her versatile voice acting talents brought her roles in popular series such as Yu-Gi-Oh! And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Maddie's transition and openness about her identity made her a trailblazer in an industry that often lacked transgender representation. She used her platform to advocate for greater understanding and inclusivity within the media. Beyond her professional career, Maddie was deeply engaged in LGBTQ+ advocacy, sharing her story to inspire others. Her iconic role as Meowth brought joy to millions of fans worldwide, and her legacy endures as a testament to the power of authenticity and representation in the arts. Dora Richter, 1892–. Dora Richter, often referred to as Dora the First, holds a pivotal place in transgender history as one of the earliest individuals to undergo gender-affirming surgery. Born in Germany, Dora lived as a woman from a young age, defying societal norms of the early 20th century. In the 1920s, Dora sought help from Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld at the Institute for Sexual Science in Berlin. There, she underwent a series of experimental surgeries, including the world's first documented vaginoplasty. Dora also worked at the Institute, assisting in groundbreaking research on gender and sexuality. Tragically, Dora's story was interrupted by the Nazi regime, which targeted Hirschfeld's institute in 1933, destroying its archives. Dora's fate after these events remains unknown, but her contributions to the early understanding of transgender healthcare remain significant. Her courage in pursuing her true self continues to inspire modern discussions on gender identity.